Yeah, and like it's just vile stuff. Like the only people who see, I know a lot of people from Newcastle because I was around the scene of. We used to go to Newcastle and Sunderland,
Uh-huh.
and I heard all the stories around that time, as I've told you before, John. And why would somebody be partying when somebody died,
Exactly.
and then accuse others? Do you know what I mean? There was only one person partying.
Listen, I see it was the same. See the news coming that night that Viv had been murdered. Paddy was the first to jump up and celebrate.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. It was only him that was partying. Why? And then why would he pretend?
And I'll tell you another thing as well, right? When John Henry Sayers and that was, bearing in mind, right, they were set up with a supergrass, okay? So when John Henry Sayers was going to be getting lifed off, Paddy's like, enjoy your lifers, ha ha ha. Paddy ordered beer, and this is not what I like, guys, right? He ordered all the beer in, blah, 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 and fireworks and everything, right? And then he heard that the case had collapsed, right? He heard the case, he actually kicked the fucking beer and everything all over the place, and that's no word of a lie. He kicked everything up in the air because they never get lifted off, because they'd used a supergrass again, a heroin addict supergrass, and they said the information that came into a phone box that they went and they changed the goalpost, try to get, there was never any information came into a phone box, and these guys were going to get fucking lifted off.
And he's celebrating exactly the same MO as what he was like when poor Cookie got recalled.
Yeah, everybody needs to ask Paddy this, right? Paddy's there saying, like, this Stephen Sayers, he called Stephen Sayers a grass for years, yeah? Stephen Sayers went done no one but 2 lie detector tests and passed, right? And this is a question to Anna Conley. I've seen you in the comments saying, how could you pass a test when you were asked that question, have you ever lied to your parents? That's a question that's asked. So you tell a lie so they can, it's 3 questions simultaneously. Yeah. And that's to deter if you're telling a lie or telling the truth. So when somebody, have you ever lied to your parents? Of course, every single person in the world were told a wee lie to their parents. Yeah, of course, so you're told to tell a deliberate lie there so they can then take that off the graph.
Yes,
that's
of course.
Yeah, so when Stephen Sayers passed not 1 but 2 lie detector tests, what did Paddy then come out and say the next morning? Bear in mind, they used the same guy that Paddy had used, the same company, so he couldn't say, oh, corruption, this company. They done a drugs test, he peed in a bloody jar while the camera was on him. He turned it back, but you could see he had nothing down his pants. He gave a drugs test and he passed not 1 but 2. Now, so where's all this evidence that the Conroy, the Sayers have grasped Paddy Conroy for all these murders? He's never been mentioned. He's never been he's never even been cautioned. He's never been charged. He's never been questioned over these murders.
I know. And the thing is, he always says his party pieces like, how can it's because they were smoking weed, or it's because Brian can't go on apply detector test because he's got psychosis, or he's got his new one is I think he's accused saying he's got Crohn's disease, psychosis, something else, and it's like, so he can't do a lie detector test. So blatantly he's trying to put into people's heads, and these people that enable him and follow him and watch him and listen to all these delusions, and sorry Anna, you included, listening to him, is like he's more or less planting this seed into people's heads to say, oh, well, because they're on this lie detector test won't be true. He's absolutely deluded. He says he's been and done lie detector tests. If he had, they would have been out there. He's done no lie detector tests because he knows he can't pass them.
He can't pass them. And if he's saying he's covered the Brian Cockerill attack and he passed it, he's a liar.
Totally liar.
And I can put my hand in the Bible and say he's a liar.
Total lie. I mean, look what Cookie said. Cookie said, you were all coming unstuck in the house until Glover did what he had to do. And that is the truth. Do you know what I mean? They were coming unstuck because Brian must have been like a fight or flight situation. I've always done a run of them situations, but I suppose Brian's, you get that mad strength, don't you, if you're fighting for your life? And Brian was a big lad then. And like Cookie said, he was pulling the radiators off the wall, throwing them all over, and it was only because there was that much blood coming out of his head where he'd been hit with the hammer by Conroy, that he slipped on the floor and that's where he was pinned down and the injury to his leg with a machete.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I mean, them kids have been in touch with me who were in that house. I mean, he was 13 at the time, or 14, I think, and he said that he's never got over it. He spoke to me in depth about it. I know he's definitely willing to come on. The man who owned the house has told me. The man next door, an absolutely really respected man from Middlesbrough, who used to have one of the clubs, like the social clubs in the town. He's on Brian's channel saying exactly what happened when Brian came out the house. It was one of the kids that actually was helping Brian to out the house, and the man said they didn't think he was actually going to make it. He had to just drop him off at the side entrance and get one of the porters who we knew to take Brian in. And obviously they had to get away because they knew Brian wouldn't want police and stuff involved. But it was actually the police, an off-duty policeman, because that road that it happened on is one of the busiest roads in Middlesbrough. When you come through, I'll take you down that road, right? And there's cars constantly all day long, right? 'Cause it's the main road into Middlesbrough and out of Middlesbrough. And that happened on a main road, and an off-duty copper, or I think it could have been one of the coppers watching what was going, which was Brian and them used to go at the house, had obviously seen them come out covered in the blood. And if that didn't happen, why was there one of their cars pulled up on the A19 and with blood all over them?
Exactly.
So, do you know what I mean? How did that come about? It wasn't that the hospital had phoned the police when Brian went in, and an off-duty policeman reported it, and they were caught on the A19 in a car, and obviously Brian's blood was all over.
Yeah.
And that's when Brian said, "Oh, we've been sparring and stuff." But and I just don't know if you can blatantly lie the way he blatantly lies. And I mean,
well, he's getting away with it so far.
Don't try and threaten someone who can't be threatened. I've been threatened by the biggest fucking people in the northeast. I've been shot multiple times. I've been fucking battered in the house with 20. Well, I was in the house. 24 was it? 24 was it? 24 people. I think in the house. I think it was something like that. And if you don't believe it, watch Cookie. Cookie talks about when they got me in the house and beat me up. And it was only through Glover. I got the injuries I got. There was 27 people in that. 24 people in that house. 7 of them thinking about me better. So, and I survived that attack, horrendous that attack. And he was going, "Oh, you only got a couple of lads only hit me with a couple of little sticks." But I don't think so.
And it was only because there was that much blood coming out of his head where he'd been hit with the hammer by Conroy.
Yeah, that's the only one. That's the tramp. That's the tinfoil there. Tinfoil. What we call it now? That must be man, mate.